We are very, very excited about football season. It is on its way. We are about 60-something days away from high school football season. And one of the programs down there in the greater Houston area that's always a force to be reckoned with. Always a force to be reckoned with. The Woodlands, the Highlanders, always have something to say come playoff time, and here to talk about his Highlanders heading into 2016 is the head coach of the Woodlands Highlanders, is Coach Mark Schmid. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. You enjoying your summer so far? Have you been able to maybe take a breath?
No, not really. You know, with summer strength and conditioning and 7-on-7, you just move into another phase.
I want to ask you about that because obviously people talk about getting ready for games and getting ready for during the season, but the practices. What's your message to your kids when summer rolls around? When a lot of them, they have vacations, they'd like some time off. What's your message to your kids maybe on the last day of school as you're entering summer?
Well, one of the things I talked to my kids about this year, I've done it every year, is that summer is just another part of our preparation. And, we understand that you have family vacations, and we understand that some of you are going to take some college visits, and those are all things that we can work around. But, the commitment to what we're doing, the commitment to your teammates, doesn't stop. And so we really want them here in our summer strength and conditioning program. We go Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 9:30 every morning. Anything beyond that, if they have a private trainer or if they've got a job, we encourage them to schedule those things away from our team time. And then we want all our skilled people to be involved in 7-on-7, and that's something that our kids buy into. They have a lot of pride in it. We've been to the state tournament 13 years in a row, and so that's something that they plan on as part of their summer. And so by and large, our kids buy into what we do during the summer. They understand the importance of it, but we do have to understand that at the same time that they have families and they're going to take some vacations.
Speaking of 7-on-7, you mentioned that the Woodlands has been extremely successful there. Do those kids? I think there's a lot of people who talk about program tradition and program pedigree with regards to winning games and winning district titles. Is there a sense of pedigree, a sense of pride in competing in 7-on-7 as well?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. If we're not going to compete and if we're not going to try to win, then we shouldn't be doing it. That's kind of our philosophy. And so we know that 7-on-7 is not the same as Friday night padded football, but, whenever you're going to line up to compete, you should do it the right way. And so our kids take it seriously. Our skilled kids, I think, benefit greatly from participating in 7-on-7. There's a big difference between getting out on the field with your teammates, just running routes and throwing and defending, versus lining up against someone else in a different colored jersey and you have to make a big play on this down to keep the drive alive or to stop the drive. And so that's our buy-in to 7-on-7, and our kids do a great job of showing up and making sure they're here to do that. And we have had a lot of success over the past in the summertime with 7-on-7.
Speaking of which, the guy who's probably going to be heading up your 7-on-7 team in this summer is guy will probably be calling the signals next summer. A guy you may know. I don't know if you've met him. The quarterback Eric Schmid. For you, I'm always interested in the dynamic between coach and quarterback, and especially when there's this kind of relationship. Is there an advantage to the fact that you guys drive to practice together?
I think there's a little bit of an advantage at times. Eric and I do ride to school and go home together every day, and usually morning times he's not very talkative, but in the evenings he's very talkative because he can reflect upon what we did in practice. He can reflect on what we did in off season, and we talk about a lot of stuff. And so I think that's a huge benefit for our relationship in terms of me being his dad / coach and him being my quarterback. Is we get to share ideas, and he tells me things that he thinks that probably a normal kid wouldn't dare tell his head coach. And so there's some benefits to that, and then there's some things that aren't so good because my wife has to remind me constantly to, take it easy on him because a lot of times I'm a whole lot more critical of him than I am of anybody else. So it's a fine line we walk, but I'm telling you, it's an experience that, I think I will cherish for the rest of my life.
He's obviously got a lot of skills and it looks poised for a breakout season. And actually, your entire offense looks like they're poised for breakout season. A lot of interesting playmakers, especially Chris Stewart at your wide receiver position. When you look at your offense heading into 2016, I imagine there's a fair bit of optimism there.
It is. We're really excited about what we have returning. I've got two offensive linemen, Hunter Medore and Matt Common, who are 12-game players for us last year, did a great job. Chris Stewart, Connor Patrick, both suffered mid-season injuries that kept them out from making a contribution at the last half of the season. But those are big-time playmakers for us. Both kids are, Chris Stewart's a 4.3 40 guy. Connor Patrick's a 4.4 and do great things with the ball in their hand. Because of their injury, we had a sophomore step up, Keyshawn Carter. He did a great job for us, and Keyshawn is a 10.5 100-meter guy. So, in terms of putting the ball into guys that can do great things with it at a receiver spot, we've got a really good core coming back. And then both of my running backs that split time last year returning, Carlos Ramos, Jordan Talford, Eric, dual threat, 800-yard rusher, 1,200-yard passer. He's back. So, I think we have a great nucleus on offense that's going to return with experience and with the ability to make some big plays. And so we are excited about what we have coming back, no doubt about it.
We're talking with Mark Schmid, the head coach of the Woodlands Highlanders here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at #DCTF Live. But, Coach, you can't talk about the Woodlands without talking about defense. That's where you guys hang your hats, where you guys have always been very, very strong. And you guys bring back, to me, the front seven looks like it has a chance to be not just one of the best in the district, but one of the best in the region, maybe one of the best in the state. I imagine you're real excited about bringing back that kind of experience and playmaking ability in your front seven.
Yeah, no doubt. With all of those guys returning, you got to feel like the heart of our defense is back. They're going to do a great job of stopping the run because that's what they did last year, and they're going to do a great job of pressuring the quarterback because that's what they did last year. Michael Purcell, he's a D lineman that heads that unit up. He's a big factor in that front seven. Michael 6'6", 235 pounds, puts pressure on the quarterback, makes it hard to throw around him. And so he's a guy that's going to spearhead that front seven. And then our linebacking core, they're all back. Outside backers, Cole Sishley, Grant Milton are returning, and both kids have great range. Cole 6'4", Grant 6'2", both run 4.6s. Inside backers, Zach Lockenfor, Eugene Bitzer return. I've got a newcomer, Jackson Shearer, who had a great spring, who's going to fit into that inside linebacking spot. And so when I look at that unit there, that front seven, it's probably as good as we've had since I've been here. And, if you follow this, we've had some great defenses. And so we've got a good portion of those guys back, and they're going to have to really lead the charge early because our secondary is going to all be brand new. And so that's where we'll probably, experience a little bit of growing pains if we do experience any, just from the experience standpoint.
It's odd. We think about you guys. We think about the Woodlands as kind of this kind of Houston area power, but you guys, as far as district realignment is concerned, it's pretty much impossible to call you a Houston team. I mean, between getting Lufkin in there, you got teams in the Piney Woods, the Beaumont area, Golden Triangle. You guys are all over the place.
Yeah, we are, and we've been in Region 2 ever since I've coached here, and that's 30 years. We've never been in Region 3, which is the Houston area region. In the past, we've been allowed to play one playoff game in the Houston area, and then we've had to go north. Well, this year we go north right away. Our bi-district matchup will be with the Mesquite schools, Rockwall. So we're heading north in a hurry, and so that's the thing. The crazy thing, we play we play our district ball games down here, but when it comes time to postseason, we're out of the Houston area.
Yeah, you guys are getting out of here in a hurry, and a lot of that has to do with your district alignment. You bring in Lufkin, a move up from Class 5A. Beaumont Westbrook, always very dangerous. Of course, the Oak Ridge, Conroe Oak Ridge, your kind of crosstown rival of sorts as well. When you look at District 12 6A, how do you assess what you guys are walking into?
It's going to be different than last year. We lost to Atascocita, Kingwood, and Summer Creek, and Atascocita was a very talented football team. But I think you slide a Lufkin into Atascocita's place, and you don't skip a beat, because we've been in the district with Lufkin for a number of years, and I think the athletic football teams that they put on the field. So that's a wash. Then you're going to put a Beaumont Westbrook in there, and they have very talented athletic football teams, and so I think we upgrade in terms of athleticism. And then the third team that comes into our district is Montgomery. And Montgomery, when they were in 5A, they were a perennial power, and now they've moved up to 6A and been very competitive, very much like us in terms of their style of football. So I think our district becomes a little tougher, and then it becomes a little bit more to deal with in terms of travel.
And then, of course, your non-district play, you guys will take on two defending state champs.
No big deal. In
Katy and George Ranch. You don't have to do that, right?
Well, I need to bring you to our realignment meeting with me then if you tell me I don't have to do that. Because there were like four of us standing around at the end of realignment. It was George Ranch, Katy, myself, Westfield, and Spring. And we were all looking at each other. Each one of us was looking for a game or two, and we all had to settle on each other. And so that's kind of the way that works. But we've played Katy every year, and it's been a great game, minus 1 or 2 years. So that's a good matchup for our program and their program. Cy-Fair and Spring are two teams that will be great non-district games for us. We played Cy-Fair for a number of years. The George Ranch will be the wild card. I know that they've got a very athletic football team. They won a state championship. They're moving up from 5A to 6A, so that's the one. You don't know what to expect, outside of, you're going to be facing a really good football team. But, we can get through that gauntlet, injury-free, and have some degree of success. I think that sets the tone for a really good run.
He is Mark Schmid. He is the head coach of the Woodlands Highlanders. Coach, really appreciate your time. Try to get some sleep, some rest this summer, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall.
You bet, man. Thank you guys for having me.
There he goes, Mark Schmid, head coach of the Woodlands Highlanders. Yeah, you look up their non-district schedule. I would like to see the list of teams that already have 2 state champions on their schedule. I'd like to see that list of teams.
I'm sure there aren't many.
Because you've got Katy and George Ranch, and I'm telling you, their district is so odd because, and I know that once Lufkin moves up to 6A, Lufkin is, we don't talk about them enough, but they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. They're in that piney woods where there's a lot of small schools, but not a lot of big schools.
For sure.
And so they've got to get lumped in somewhere. Mm-hmm. Last year, you remember, they got lumped in with like the Southern Dallas teams.
Yeah.
And so then this time, the Woodlands gets lumped in with them, not to mention Beaumont Westbrook. Yeah. They're going to be doing some traveling. And then, the non-district, or the bi-district game, rather.
Yeah, they're not messing around with that. And people forget. No team in the state played Katy better last year
than
the Woodlands.
Absolutely.
That was, a 1-touchdown game? Mm-hmm. Unbelievable performance considering what Katy went on to do.
But then you look at this, and you look at who they could be matched up against in bi-district. They could be traveling to play North Mesquite, okay?
Yeah.
And so think about, at that point, isn't that a huge advantage when we talk about the 6A home field advantage rule,
no question.
Right?
No question.
Because I'm going to do this real quick. You're listening to live coverage of me Googling something.
A tradition unlike any other on DCTF Live.
High school to the Woodlands High School. Let's just see. North Mesquite High School to the Woodlands High School, according to Google Maps, is 216 miles. Okay? And so if you are Mark Schmid, you're saying, guys, we got to win our district so that we don't have to drive to Mesquite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
I mean, and so forget what that game would look like. Okay, forget the matchups, or forget who's got the better defense, who's got the better offense. From a pure travel perspective, that's such a huge thing there.
Yeah.
So the Woodlands is always an interesting squad, and if that if the coach's son Eric Schmid can have a big year and can help that offense get going,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I think they're a very, very dangerous team.